Alright, so you should be able to see what I'm showing you in the camera, the true creator's work. You should be able to see the feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast, image within image within image, in all directions, and all of that. I'm going to start a new series. Just kind of bored with the series for Richard Vobes. And I'm going to try to find someone more that's I enjoy more to do a series to. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the sun and how the sun works. And it's not easy because we've been lied to so often about everything that anything that I spilling out of my mouth, I'm consciously thinking about how it's going to sound on the receiving end by, I hate to say it, but everything I just hate when it comes out of my mouth. But what am I fucking going to do? By the 7.8 billion zombie slaves who continue to go along with this shit. Maybe it's easier for me when I'm in a bad mood, if I'm in an angry mood, to refer to everybody as this, because I include myself in this, and I include my family and friends and loved ones in this, because anytime you try to show them the reality of things and the truth of things, they do not want to go look. They refuse to see things for what they are, no matter how high the boil. I don't see anyone waking up. If they wake up, they're just waking up either to old lies that they preferred. Um, so therefore, when I'm talking about the clouds or the sun or the moon, everybody refers to these things as natures and gods and matrices and hallucinations and um, holograms and all these religions that we put into place, that humankind has put into place all over this earth for many, many years. I can't compete with that. And I guess I've always known that. I guess I've always known that, that it's not going to be easy to show everyone. You have to be creative and clever about how you do it, especially when you're being squashed. You kind of hope in the back of your mind that the fact that somebody like myself, who's such a nobody, is being so hardly squashed on YouTube, Facebook, all the, social medias and all that, right? And you kind of think to yourself, well, okay, well, anybody on the outside looking in, any possible potential real people, they're going to notice this and they're going to say, there's something suspicious about this. Why is this nobody who's talking craziness that's so insane, you know, so why are they bothering with him? I mean, he's just a nobody, and the shit that he's spurting out his mouth goes so against everything that we know of, right? Because our science is so up to date, So he's denying that any of this is a reality, any of the human concept is based on reality. That's a pretty far fucking jump. Not going to get too many people to get on board with that. But on the same hand, because it's even harder than you'd think, because they just refuse to look. Because really, that's all you got to do is go look. And there are so many details that we've been fucked with on that every time you get into anything, it turns into this debate, no matter which way you go. Like, for example, they'll say, okay, feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast, I might say to people. That's great evidence for us of the true creator and the true creator's work. Now, and I'll also have to explain that, okay, well, the true creator doesn't see things as up, down, left, right, backward, forward, in and out, just the same way that the true creator does not see these feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast as feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast. What we call them, what we name them, does not come into play way beyond the true creator, the false creator, and slash creator. Any of them, they have nothing to do with the naming of these things. That was humans. That was human concepts that put the names on these things and labeled them the way they did. And there might have been reasons for each one. But we don't know because the names have all been changed so often over the thousands and thousands of years. For example, did we always call the dog a dog? No, we called him canine. And then did we always call the canine a canine? No, we had different names for each type of canine. And then was the name always canine? No, there was actually other names for canine. And everything got changed throughout Roman history, throughout different periods of time, depending on who was in control at each time, what humans were in control. So it's not easy. And then we go from that, we would go into, people might say, okay, well, you're just seeing what you want to see. That's another thing, which there are cases where I believe that I'm just seeing what I want to see. I have to consciously be careful about all of it. That's why I don't accept shadow imagery. And there's quite a bit of shadow imagery if you don't look for angles and distances of perspective, and if you don't learn about the lights and shadows, which I keep telling everyone are the most important things in all of this. Whether we're looking at the clouds, the trees, the moon, everything, the ground, the human skin, looking into the animals. And then you'll have people say, well, yeah, you know, you're going to see all these things, but not until they pull their imagination in do they see the, for example, trees and bushes. You don't see trees and bushes even in the trees and bushes. I thought that was kind of strange. Why don't I see flowers and roses and everything like this in the True Creator's imagery, right? When I first found all this, these are the things I was asking myself. These are pretty intelligent questions, and I'd hate using the word intelligence, just common, obvious questions for anybody that was seeing all this. These are the questions I'd ask myself, right? And I did. And I came to the conclusions and answers that are all around me. I did not accept any delusions. I did not accept imagination and being able to use my for anything more than using my imagination. The other day, as a matter of fact, I was looking back at some videos, some videos that I did, research vids, just like I'm doing now. Research vids, I watch them back all the time. I want to see how clear and obvious it all is. And it was a very large, what looked like a bull. It was a shadow image. And whenever I find a body, and it had a body, it was a body image to it. It was so big that my camera was not catching the entire thing, but I caught the front of it, and along with its legs sticking out, and the other leg going down, the front legs, and then the hoof. The hoof was there. Now I don't know enough about animals, but it looked like it had the split hoof, like a camel's toe, right? So I don't know if bulls have that, and maybe it's only certain cattle that carry that trait of the camel's toe type thing, where it's a split hoof, right? So if that's the case, then that means I'm working on a shadow image of a bull, and if I would have went and looked at it good, and I can because it's still posted, as long as the channels don't get deleted, then it'll still be there. So I'll go back on that and I'll look at it more. And if I find the rest of the characteristics in the face, and then I go with the legs and the hoof, which is all my camera pretty much picked up, I'm pretty sure. Because once I saw it, I watched it through and it was going in the opposite direction. But so maybe I caught the hindquarters coming in first, and then it was so large that it ate up the whole camera. And then when I happened to catch it on screen, so I can go back and look for it and try to be more exact about it, you know. I'm just gonna try to make a few adjustments here. I mean, it's fucking unbelievable, man. It's really unreal. The imagery is so good. It's all around us. We can see it all. The reason why we don't want to believe this is because it's going to go against everything we've ever heard, learned, thought, taught, programmed. And that's why we fight it. But if we just look and see things for what they are, and accept them for what we see, and not for what our imaginations can dig up. Because what happens is that the information is being dumped on us, and it has been for so long. This is not a recent thing. This is not an internet thing. This happened with television. It happened with books. It happened with telephones and other communications, where we all stopped using the true creator's energy to communicate with each other. And the true creator's energy is all one. You will see all this if you go look at the system and see it for what it is. Then you'll, the things that I'm telling you that sound so outlandish and so out there, they will just seem, oh yeah, okay, I see what he's talking about, because there's no math from the veil to the ground. The true creator sees it all as one, and he doesn't see things as up, down, left, right, backward, forward, in and out. And you can see that by the way the true creator's builders are building everything. They don't build according to up, down, left, right, backward, forward, in and out. So obviously the true creator does not see it that way, and doesn't happen that way. All those things, up, down, left, right, backward, forward, in and out, they don't come into play until you get to the false creator / creator's work. So that's easy to see, and it's easy to understand. That's where all math began, was at division. Math began at division, because that's when you can see that the false creator / creator stole the true creator's energy to build a biosystem. And he began by stealing the work. What was the work? What we today would call feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast. And that's what he was going to use to make this biosystem. Whose builders are the false creator / creator using to do all this building? Well, that's pretty fucking obvious. The one. The one are the builders. The one are the builders. And I'm saying builders plural, but really they're the true creator's builders, so they also see everything as one. So the builders are not building as this way. Okay, another really big thing, all these huge things that are easy to see, and if we go and see them, number one, I'm off the hook for being called a fucking nut job anymore, because everybody will just be, and it's not looking for praise on what I'm showing you. I'm just looking for acknowledgement of the system, not acknowledgement of me. So that's another thing that people have a hard time with, because they're so used to everybody wants to be a fucking movie star, and everybody wants to be a YouTube whatever the fuck the YouTubers are, and and be labeled that way. That fucking sucks, man. So if we go and look at things for ourselves, we'll be able to see this, where it all begins, where it began, where it starts. We'll understand how we can use the true creator's energy to communicate again, rather than just throwing it into the air and not realizing that it goes anywhere. Another huge thing that I've been talking about more and more, and it's unfucking believable. It's just so unbelievable. I knew this when I first found the timelines in the moon. I knew that it was going to be something big. I begged and pleaded and asked for the people who were subscribed to me that might be real people, please start looking. Please drop whatever it is you're doing in your lives and go start looking at the system and see it for what it is. Especially somebody with millions of subscribers, so that more eyes can be on this, so that it goes quicker, because we're running out of fucking time. You can see that we're running out of time. You can see how much my channels are being demolished. My videos are getting deleted. I'm pleading with everyone as I'm going along. You can watch for 6 years that I've been doing the YouTube videos now. This is going to be 6 years. And you can see me all the way through when I go back and watch my videos, pleading with people, please go fucking look at what I'm showing you, because we're going to run out of time. And as we're running more and further out of time, things get worse and worse. The boil goes higher and higher. You think that it could not get any higher and higher. And sure, nobody, no fucking help still. Nobody, they're just all fucking sleeping at the wheel, going down all these false roads, taking rabbit holes and not coming back out of them again. It's not the way rabbit holes are supposed to be done by humans. You're supposed to go down them, learn what you can learn, and get the fuck out, because it's all lies anyway, down these rabbit holes anyway. Because the human concept, because the whole entire human concept, whatever comes out of our mouths should be considered a fucking lie, including what I'm saying to you now. Even what I'm saying to you now, I don't consider it to be any truth or based on any reality other than going and looking at the system is where you're going to find the reality and the truth, not by what's coming out of my mouth. Even though I know that I know these things, you should all, or anybody else listening to me, should not. My advice is do not believe it. Go and look at it for yourselves and then see it for what it is. And you'll come to the same conclusion. I'm very confident about that. Because there's only one way to see it. There's only one way to take the things that I'm showing you. That's why when you show it to people, they want to come up with a million other reasons of why it is they're seeing it. Oh, that's my imagination. Oh, that's the government's putting holographic images up in the clouds. Oh, yeah, well, what about the moon? Oh, yeah, they know how to do that, too. They're projecting holographic images onto the moon's surface from a fucking, from Mars or whatever that they're telling you. You know what I mean? I mean, you cannot fucking win. They got a bullshit story set up for every situation of reality that I'm trying to share with you all. The timelines. So I found the timelines in the moon with the help of a very nice guy. Wolfie is his name. And he has a channel and he hates my guts because I was calling out Harold Kotz. But he was still a nice guy. You could tell he was a nice person by the way he was writing me and ranking me out and telling me off and everything. You could tell. He wasn't a swear guy. He wasn't a trash mouth like me. He wasn't trying to be a tough guy. He wasn't threatening to beat me up or kill me. None of those kind of things. He was just, you could also tell he believed in Harold Kotz. And he believed in the things, the holistic medicines that he himself believed in. You know, that he was brought up on, I should say. So he believed in that. So once I found out that he was a holistic guy, because he did hide his true identity when he came in. But anyways, he was calling me out on a bunch of shit. And the reason why I'm explaining this, because I'm trying to give credit to wherever any credit is due, even if it's somebody that does not like me and who hates me. Okay, so he came out and he was ranking me out for using the microscopic lenses on the camera to look in at the computer. Well, that was out of my convenience in the first place because it's easier for me. I don't have to get up to the screen, and I already had learned a couple of years earlier that the computer was going to have an electromagnetic effect on the camera and cause stretch lines, electromagnetic stretch lines in the camera when I was doing video. So therefore, it was just easier. Also, using that lens allowed me to crop images for people easier than trying to crop with my hands or trying to crop with a piece of cardboard. It just became easier to show you around on the moon by just taking my time and going around with it. Okay, well, so him and I were going back and forth and back and forth. So I changed my cropping tools from the triangular cropping tools to the roundish cropping tools. And that was it. That's all it took. Once I started seeing those cropping tools meeting those timelines, that's when I started calling them timelines, right? That's when I started. You can go back. It's under the Harold Kotz series. I was watching them the other day. They got shit for views. There's no fucking views on any of the shit that I put together, and which is like the most amazing shit you ever seen. And I'm showing people during that series how to print up the moon on paper and plastic and thin paper so you can see through it, so you can bounce light around through it from behind and in front of it. Very informative. All shit that we can all see and prove for ourselves. And go look at the true creator's work and go look at the false creator / creator's work. You can tell the difference between them. You can understand what I'm talking about when I say that. You'll understand a lot of things that I say by going in, just looking at it all. So I'm telling you how to look. I'm not necessarily saying that these images have to be what I say, where I say. No, none of that. I'm telling you lights and shadows, angles and distances of perspective. You'll get the rest. You'll get the hang of it. And then we'll all be able to see it. And then once we're all seeing it, now we're all on a fair playing ground then. We're all on an even starting path, right? If we do it that way. But if we're all got different lies that we want to share with each other, and you have to believe my lies over your lies, and I have to believe your lies and over my lies, some of these lies that you have, I believe in. Some of these other lies that you have, I don't believe in. I think of them as lies and all this kind of shit, right? That's all. No, stop all that. We all have to stop all that. Just go look at things and see them for what they are, and we won't be arguing and debating anymore. Any divisions we do have will be conscious and thought out. They won't just be this random, oh, I heard it on Fox News, right? I also want to mention, now that I'm back on YouTube, what a fuck show this whole Tucker Carlson thing is. Okay, Fox News fucking going to shit. No shit. I mean, we've been shutting everything down for the last 50 years, and in the last 10 years, even more so, and in the last 3 years, even more so, because we're getting far, right? Think about it. The banks all collapsed, right? We had 3 of our 4 major banks in this country have fucking collapsed. Not even in this country. Those are world banks. Those are national fucking banks that collapsed. We bailed them out, and then, right, the United States bails them out, sends them millions of dollars of taxpayers' money, and then at the same time, McCarthy comes out a week or 2 later and decides that he's cutting food stamps, cutting SNAP, cutting all this for the poor because there's no more need for it and all that, right? I mean, they just totally fucked us with the thing that we can't talk about, the Lion Mama Konas 19. And they can't even talk about that without your channel getting shut down. They fucked us and all this. And then everybody, I have to watch this. I have to watch these millions of fucking zombie slaves all pretending that they believe that last Tucker Carlson video, that 3-minute video, was Tucker Carlson. That was not Tucker Carlson. I'm going to do, once I get the other channel back on and I'm doing videos, I'll get behind the computer. I'm going to go joke that fucking video real bad. And the people that are pushing that video and talking about Tucker Carlson and everything, Megyn Kelly and, Rogan and all these different people that are talking about, Glenn Beck, Clayton Morris, all these people that are supposed to be his friends, why did they not call that out as CGI Carlson? Because that's CGI Carlson. That's not Carlson. The suit is CGI. The shelves are CGI. Everything about that fucking video is CGI. And it's obvious. The shadows don't work. The lighting is off. None of it fucking works. I don't care where the lighting is in there. His eyes opening and closing and his normal facial features that the AI is, or whoever you want to give credit to making that video, whatever computer programmer made that video and put it together, they have his facial features down pat, but they come into play at the wrong time. Tucker Carlson has a soul and a spirit. His facial features, when he's talking and he's showing emotion, then his facial features work properly. They work at the right time when he's saying something. So when the words are coming out of his mouth about something he feels emotional about, his eyes will raise, his eyebrows will move up and down, his lips will go whoa, and his noises and sounds of his character will come out. That's true, but not all at the wrong times. And that's what they did. This technology is fucking garbage. And what they're doing is they're proving to me for sure that the human population is fucking zombied out, man. But how many of these people are in on it? How many of these people are intentionally, like Megyn Kelly, for example? Does she understand that it's really a CGI video and that she's in on it with Tucker? Because obviously, if Tucker didn't come out and say, that's not me, you bunch of fucking idiots, that's not me. That's a fucking computer-generated video of myself or something like that. He's not doing that yet. It's been 2 weeks. So I'm very suspicious about that. As far as Fox News goes, I mean, Disney, they took Disney down. They took down Bud Light. Everybody's throwing themselves on the sword for shit's sakes. What the fuck is wrong with everyone, man? I mean, YMCA, right? YMCA went under. YMCA's been around all the time. Everyone, Red Cross is fucking going. All these facilities and places that we thought Your 401ks are all gone. Your pension plans are half of what they were worth 4 years ago. They were even going down and dropping even before that, but they had hard hits where they dropped even. So then they say, oh, they dropped a third. Okay, well, they dropped a third in the last year, but they dropped a third over the last 4 or 5 years prior to this fucking last year. So really, did they only drop a third? You know what I mean? So 401ks and pensions, you're supposed to have more money when you retire, not fucking less, right? So it makes no fucking sense. So they collapsed everything, and they intentionally did it. They closed down all the small mom and pop shit with the Lion Mama Kona. The Lion Mama Kona virus came out, and they fucking did their shit. And then they got everyone to do other bad things, and then they go back and forth about it. Oh, well, maybe I should have, maybe I shouldn't have. Oh, we can't really prove without a doubt that that's really what's killing everyone, because those proteins have been around for a long, oh my God, man. Then we're going to argue and debate about all this. Again, division, divided. The timelines before the video ends, and I talk for an hour about nothing. What am I at? I think 30 something minutes. The timelines. So hard to stay on one fucking subject. It really is, without explaining everything and running down a lot of roads. So found the timelines in the moon thanks to Wolfie. As soon as I created those roundish cropping tools, I started noticing that the lines were falling on the same way that I was cropping images. And if I pulled my cropping tool away from those lines, especially the white lines, and brought it back to a black line and kept going back and forth a little bit, moving the lines, as you can see from the many, many videos I've done, I'm showing you all how to go do this for yourself. I'm not telling you take my word for it, I bent to the fucking moon. I'm telling you the moon is not even what we were told, and we can prove that it's not what we were told. We can do it, not me take my word for it and or anything. We just can all go look and see that it's not what we were told, man. So that was 2 years ago, and I was looking, but I wasn't looking hard because, number one, I'm afraid it's just too much information for one person. I had to take in all at once. I warn people of that when they come along. If anybody comes to my channel, I warn them that there is a talent to doing this, that you do have to be able to sit back and relax and wait for things to come. Don't worry about it. You won't be bored, because there are so many other things to look at while you're learning about, sitting back and just waiting to see the next parts of the information. So on one hand, I wasn't big on finding those timelines and figuring them out, but what I was big on was showing them to anyone else who would come along. Here are the timelines. I'm confident that that's what these are going to turn out to be. Here's what I see so far, what they're doing. They seem to be cropping out certain images for all these large timelines. I did not even see the small timelines at the time. Did not even understand them, but I had an idea. Seeing that the moon was going around in a clockwise rotation in the sky around our Earth, then it kind of made sense to me to look at the idea that these were timelines. Now, the timelines, as the moon goes around and cropping the images, putting that together with the another carbon layer, which we call a moon shadow, which is not a moon shadow at all, and starting to think, okay, well, there's a good possibility that this is going to turn out to be not only, because at that time I already knew that the moon was being used as a voltage regulator for when what we call souls or energies are assigned to the bio realm. That I already knew. I knew that from the model, that the energy from the stationary stars was coming down through the moon and entering down to the Earth and through the Earth and back out to what we would call another identical moon, because it's not an identical moon. It's one continuous beyond projection. It's not necessarily a projection because it comes from both directions, all directions. So it's not necessarily a projection, but that's the best I can word it. But I can tell you we can see it. We can see it all. Okay? So, anyways, time went on, a couple of years at least. Go back and look at the Harold Koch series, see when my dating was, when those videos were made, but it was a couple of years already. But I didn't stop looking. I just didn't put a lot of emphasis on it. So I was watching the timelines, I was figuring them out, and different shit was happening. Well, then all of a sudden, 2 years later, some other things happened. The learning how to crop with the light rather than crop with the cropping tool. That took me 6 fucking years to figure out. I was cropping with the light all along in some situations, but I couldn't figure out what it was I was doing. I didn't understand how I could show it to others. It all just all of a sudden in this last, when I was under this last series, I'm trying to remember what the fuck happened. Something happened, and another just it all came to me all of a sudden. Boom! I said, okay, now I can crop with the light. Number one, cropping with the light allows me to show the imagery to anyone looking a lot more crisp and clear, which I believe is why I got shut off of YouTube. The real reason that I keep getting shut out of YouTube, because I'm showing it so good. When I go back and watch my videos, I understand why they're so on me. That's why they've got 20-something agents following me around 24/7 for months at a time. That's why they got all my computers hacked, my phones hacked. That's why they're crashing my shit on a daily basis, because this is how close I am to having the rest of the story on my own without fucking anybody looking and without, So if it's this easy by just staying calm, staying relaxed, and seeing things for what they are, then I learned over the years that's the best thing to do. And then the rest of the shit will just, the information, I should call it, not shit, but the reality will just be shown to us. So that's what I did. So now, all of a sudden, I find several other, it gets down to this now. Now I have to start creating all kinds of new names for everything. Just like I had to find a name for the Metellus. The same way that I had to find a name for the mirror neuron manipulator. The same way that I had to find a name for these things that I don't feel I have the right to even put names on. But I'll tell you what, if the rest of you are all just going to be sitting back, 7.8 billion zombies, and not fucking doing and looking at anything, because it's not doing anything, just looking at shit, Just looking around and observing is really all we're doing. We're trying to awaken people to the idea that there's something going on out there that's way beyond their television screen or their computer monitor or their, cell phone, right? And it's the true creator. It's the true creator. It's the false creator / creator. It's the God you were all claiming that you wanted to know. I'm showing him to you so that you can go see it for yourself. But because it doesn't meet your goals of what you're supposed to push in life, everyone goes against it, even though you can see it for yourself. It's pretty incredible shit, man. Pretty amazing. So the timelines. So I had to come up with names for these areas. So I stole some of their terminology. They call it the Sea of Tranquility because they're a bunch of assholes and they're lying motherfuckers. Okay, fine. The moon has to be renamed. Calling the moon a moon and allowing it to have such a useless, condescending, just no way. It's all done. But I cannot think of a name yet that's good enough to describe its use to us as the false creator / creator's clock. I don't have terminology that could also at the same time include the fact that it's the true creator's imagery that is all filling up that moon, every little spot of it. I don't have enough to explain the voltage regulator aspect of it, because it's not really voltage that it's sending down. It's just terminology that I have in my vocabulary, so I'm using it. But it's an electromagnetic nanocarbon system, so it would have to be worded in that way. And it's not a voltage regulator; it's an electromagnetic nanocarbon regulator, right? So I have to find a term that implements these several major points to what this object that we call an object that's not really an object even, right? So it's difficult. It's very confusing. So I have to, once I find the perfect name that describes all these things and avoids any mention of a MOON that has two O's in it, that has, again, everything we've ever been told, whether it's the heliocentric or the geocentric models, have been lies that we've been told about the moon. Little dibbles of truth here and there in the geocentric model, but and then there's like similarities of it in the heliocentric, but for the most part, it's all bullshit. Especially seeing its importance. It's because it's very, very important for us, and it's so ignored. Okay, so the Sea of Tranquility. I took that. I said, "Fuck it, we're gonna start calling." Now we're gonna have the so we're gonna have the Sea of Tranquility, the Lake of Tranquility, the Pond of Tranquility, and then we're gonna have the Puddles of Tranquility. When we get down to the Puddles of Tranquility, they're gonna be accounting for, and before this video ends, there's one point that I want to stress. So let me see what I'm at. All right, I gotta hurry up here. I don't have my glasses on. I think I'm still at 38 minutes, I think. Okay, on these timelines, because this is the point I want to try to make this, and I'll make this point more and more as I get my channels back and stuff like that. I'll talk about it more. So as I'm learning these timelines, and I'm tracking the timelines, and I'm following the timelines, I'm figuring out which images are cropped by which timelines, and which ones are more important, which ones are falling on, as I would assume, and there's no such thing as zero, so to call them 100-year timelines would be a falsity. I got to take zeros out of all my math, so you can see where this is all going to get confusing for everyone if nobody's on board, if nobody's looking, if no one's going and looking at the system for themselves and trying to take my word on it, then they're not going to get past any of the other things that are going to come into play. So if I tell you that the timelines are a 111-year timelines, right? And you're going to do the math yourself, and you're going to say, well, no, that would be a 100-year timeline. Then I have to explain to you the whole bullshit about zeros being nonsense, and zeros are not real, and they're humanly influenced and human derived, and they're false. They were put there to hurt the humans and everybody else for that matter. Every other creature that falls under our prey is also hurt by the zeros. So we're going to take those out, and people's minds start spinning, and they're fucking going, whoa, what's he talking about? No zeros. That's right, there's no zeros. So I cannot continue to play the game and pretend that these things are meaningful and that they're meaningful arguments. No, they're bullshit. It's all bullshit. All of it. The science, the math, the doctorates. It was all garbage. And then when you listen to all these other people like Harold Kotz talking his philosophies, and you'll hear Jordan Peterson, for example, I was just listening to. They're very nice to listen to. They're intelligent. They seem what we call intelligent, but when you really look between the lines and you read between the lines, yes, we could say he's a nice person. Still, I still think that he's a nice person, personality wise, but he's definitely working for the enemy. He's just working for a different enemy than the one we're at the moment fighting, right? So there's a lot of different enemies, and the psychology major that he is, and the psychology professor that he is, hurts the human population big time. Even though when I'm listening to him talk, if I did not know what I know, and I would be thinking, oh, that he's so good at this, he's so good at what he's doing. Nah, man, he's teaching people that evolution is a fact. He's teaching people that his psychology, like if he pulls out an ink blotter, he's putting together that these ink blotters, he doesn't see the feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast. No, he's going to use his imagination to see all these other creatures that are not even there. Even though he can't even put them together and point them out, circle them, draw them, he cannot even take cropping tools and put cropping tools around them and show you any detail of the lobster. He can't give you the lobster in the ink blot because it's not there. The true, you can just throw ink on a fucking paint on a paper. I do it all the time. I show people this all the time, painting bureaus and dressers and stuff. The true creators, builders are all around us building everything. So every time I paint something with a texture, or I paint something just randomly. It's a human random collage that when you go in and look at the imagery, I'll take you to them. I got them on my Miguel Everyone channel at the beginning of my series. I mean, at the beginning of the channel. You'll look for a red bureau and you'll say, why is this guy got painting a bureau on his freaking channel? What the hell is this about? Well, if you go look, that's what I'm doing. I'm digitally collecting the electromagnetic nanocarbon from a paint job that I did on a bureau. But I don't like doing things with human influence because it confuses people. But it does go to prove the point that I'm trying to prove in that video, is that everything in this realm, it's everything. We're swimming in this electromagnetic nanocarbon. It's not up there, it's not down there, it's all around us. It's building us at all times. All these fucking things come into the timelines. So now, before this video ends, the main stressor of what I'm trying to get to. Okay, I found the timelines in the moon. I figured out the fucking light. I figured out the light coming into the timelines, lighting up the shadows, not adding, but producing what we call color by the way the light spectrum enters shadows. So the light goes under, up, down, in, out, reflects, does all this different shit. The light, as it's coming through, each and every shadow, each and every little millimeter of a shadow that's created and put there by whoever, whatever, doesn't really matter. So in other words, if we want to put the heavy metals and minerals up in a factory or by jets or by whatever in the at the cloud level, then therefore the builders will build accordingly. They'll build whatever feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast is what they build in the shape of everything. But you got to remember that they build everything in this realm. So whether it's a tree, you can come down here, they're building the trees, the grass, they're building me right now as I'm speaking to, and all this, right? Okay, so back to the timelines before the video ends. The fucking timelines come all the way down and through. The moon is the clock that shows us the timelines so that we can see them. Otherwise, we would not see them down here in the ground. Everything moves too fast here. So, for example, when I light the fire, I just did a video on a major fire, chemical fire, factory fire. I did the video and I'm extracting the imagery, the feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast, from the smoke bellowing up from the fire, right? Okay, so there's timelines in that fire. I was over on Malika Joy's series on her video. She had some clouds, so I was showing her in the clouds with the cropper and explaining these are the timelines, right? I'm explaining to her these are the timelines. You don't, if you don't have a clear understanding of how serious this is, what kind of a huge deal this is, to understand that these timelines come all the way from the stationary, from the veil to the ground, right? From the veil to the ground, keeping it simple. Think about that. That means the fire that I lit in my yard, the moisture coming up from the dew in the grass, when I'm digitally collecting the EMNC from the dew rising in the morning lawn, right? We're digitally collecting the EMNC from those. Now, I've been seeing these timelines all along because I've been seeing the imagery, but I did not know they were timelines. I was just using them as lines because I was cropping the images, and everything in the True Creator's work is collaged. All directions, all sides, in and out, up, down, left, right, backward, forward, in and out do not exist. They do not care about these things. So, as I found the fucking timelines in the moon, and I'm figuring out the lights, using the light as a cropping tool, now all of a sudden I'm using the sun as a cropping tool. I have smoke coming up from my fireplace. I have dew coming up from the grass. I can go and digitally collect the EMNC and understand and appreciate that every motion that I'm making, and I'm trying to figure out still how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna come up with a clever way to simply show you this, simply by starting a long fire in my yard and then walking through the smoke and then go remaster the video. And I'll show you my body moving through the timelines that we're all walking through all around us all the time. Now, if you want to know what those timelines mean and what they add up to, then we just look at the false creator / creator's clock, because we are bio creatures. So if we want to know what the false creator / creator's intentions are for that clock, then we have to go look at the fucking clock. So now I'm able to show you by using the Sea of Tranquility, the Lake of Tranquility, the Pond of Tranquility, and the Puddles of Tranquility. I'm going to be able to show you centuries, which we're going to have to change the names on all these things, but centuries and decades and years and months, which are also all going to change, because there is not going to be any more 12 months to a year, of course, because, well, there could be, but there's not going to be any 10th month. Let's put it that way. There's no more going to be no more 0 month, and there's going to be no more 10th month, because they have anything with a 0 is fucking gone. So all these things have to be changed. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it quickly and easily. And of course, everyone's going to ignore it, and it's all going to fall by the wayside, and we're all going to be fucked, and then we're all going to not be here in another fucking few years. Most of us won't be here in just a few years, because every fucking shit's going faster and faster, bigger and bigger, harder and harder, and everyone's just pretending that it isn't happening. I cannot get this word out to anyone. I don't have any subscribers still, no viewers. Anybody that does come either ranks me out and then runs away. I don't have anybody to the people that I'm calling out, not one of them has come forward and said, okay, I see what you're doing. I see what you got going on here. I'm with you. I see it all now. It's blowing my fucking mind, but I'm going to go look at it, because this is, if what you're saying is correct, then it's fucking game over, man, right? And I'm going to say, yeah, I know, but nobody will go look. Nobody will go look. They're all fucking zombies, man. Oh, fuck. That's all I wanted to say about the timelines. We're walking through them everywhere. It's something new that I've realized now, just now, that all these things we can see. So as far as Harold Kotz goes and his physics and all that shit, get rid of it, Harold. You don't need it. Get rid of it. The math is fucking bad. It's bad math. It was lousy. It's human concept. And Harold Kotz too, same thing. Very nice guy, very nice person. But he's had a couple years now too to come out and see what it is I'm showing him. And I don't know, maybe it's just that it takes that long for people once they see it. Maybe it takes that long to process everything. But the only way to process it is to continue looking at it all. You can't turn away from it out of fear.